Hi, welcome to my studio and to New Mexico Arts Imaginative Collective's production for virtual Visionaries. My name is Karen Cunningham, and I am the creative director, videographer, and editor for this project called A Day in the Life of. As a filmmaker, my vision for this project was to document the spirit of a few Albuquerque artists and how their daily lives shaped the making of their art. During the Day in the Life, I will transport you to the world of 3 exceptional women artists. Follow my journey with each through the lens of my camera. It will seem as though they are speaking solely to you. Every moment is spontaneous and captured visually. Expect to have a truly inspirational experience. There will be experiences we will share with each artist. Imagine with me filming some of them. We will try to keep up with an artist, Alex, as she and her dog hike in the Albuquerque foothills, avoiding possible rattlesnakes or losing her footing on a steep granite trail. Then feel the joy as we participate with another artist, Nova, as she dances in costume in a giant puppet parade in downtown Albuquerque. Then at the end of the day, in the life of another artist, we can sit back and virtually relax outdoors in Carolyn's garden as she shares a gourmet meal we have filmed together. I only wish my editing would allow me to share with you the awesome aroma of her meal. Each artist's story will reveal their unique approach on how they make art. I hope you will be awed as I was filming without having to hold the camera. In addition, I am thankful for the many that lent their support and contributed content behind the scenes for A Day in the Life of, a wonderful community and delight to this filmmaker. At the end of each artist's story, you will find the artists and participating nonprofit organizations' contact information. Let them know you saw this video. They would love to hear from you. Join me now and discover the joy these artists bring to their own lives and others by making art. You are about to receive an artistic hug.
Namo, Bikanza Maharatsai, Sonam Yotsun Gatso Turnashing. Claire, you want to go for a walk? Let's go for a hike, come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's get your... Here we go. Good girl. Okay. on, Snickle Fritz. Good girl. You're ready. Come on, let's go.
Welcome. I heard welcome. It came from the Foothills. Personal. 2 a.m. I am grieving and go. Come. You are always welcome. See the moon, the stars. Place your feet upon the earth skin. Do not be afraid. You are always welcome here. Your tears are not staunched. It is fine. Welcome. 4 a.m. I cannot sleep, so I go. You're right on time. Time is no issue. You will never be an outcast as you once were. Welcome. You need no resume, no letter of recommendation, no letter of introduction, no magic words or mantras. We know you. We have always been waiting, and someday you will come to stay. And then, too, you will be welcome. Always welcome. Life's path. I'm hiking along this gradual where we met, but you didn't know that I had to climb up a precipice and over boulders to get here. Our benign encounter pressed my heart from the forest of unknowing love. Such a path rescinded loneliness and despair, and I am grateful. I am grateful. Listen to the foothills. Quiet. Listen. Listen far into space, to distant galaxies. My spirit is calling me. As the sun rays shine on rocks and boulders, as nights of cool darkness silence thought. Now listen. The spirit, a lover of hearts, hidden in mists and summer rain. I hear wisdom in shadows cast by a light unknown. Listen, I know it's coming. I hear the song of myself through the silence. In the forest of cactus along a path, I open my arms as it stealthily approaches. It is my song, the song of my true lover. My heart flutters faster and softer, awaiting its arrival. It remembers this friend. Quiet. It comes between the rocks, between the coyotes and rock squirrels and slithering snakes and pinon. It comes through the quiet here in the foothills. My foothills, my venue, where I meet life and death.
There you go. There you go. here. You want a piece? Come here, boo-boo. There you go. Welcome to my apartment studio, and right now I'm working on a painting, a second painting called Going Home, and it's given me a little grief, which is okay, but so I'll see how this progresses. I've made another one similar, smaller. I paint a lot of subways. I'm from New York, and one of the first subways that I had painted was in the catalog for the Art Students League. I think it was 1982, and that one is over here, a painting of 14th Street, Lexington Avenue. And how I painted that, I stood there and made sketches, which I still have, believe it or not, and put down in the sketch the highlights here, and then I would go back and make the painting. This one too, this is underground. when you look at when you subway car stops and you look out, you may see this. And also this one, which is called the RR Underground, and this got a very nice award. 25 winners of 2,500 entrants. And I had a nice reception at the Lotus Club in New York. So some of the scenes that I've painted since I've moved to Albuquerque, this happens to be Tucson Graveyard. And also I've painted other ones. I went to France for several weeks. And this one is from a small town outside of La Roche in the Ardèche area, La Roche de Juvenas. And this is a Taos tire shop. They don't have lifts. At least when I painted this, they didn't have lifts, so you'll see the jacks. And that's how they change tires and fix tires. And this one of the two horses is called Waiting, and that was a precursor to another painting I made of 5 horses, also called Waiting. So that was also inspired by the pandemic, that we all seem to be waiting, and it doesn't mean where you are, you're still waiting, whether you're on a horse or sitting watching television, or you're still waiting. So I do a lot of other types of art expression. I also make mobiles out of styrofoam that I found in the garbage, and I used wood filler and sand them and paint them and polyurethane. This one's called Happy House. And also I have one I made, Sonia Holy Eagle's drum, which was a little intense to make. And I have one of her drums that I do go up in the foothills and play. Oh, welcome to Tortuga Gallery. This is a show that is called Grief and Gratitude. And I have 3 paintings here. This is the arrival of grief. And what inspired me was I had a receipt from a grocery store, and it had gotten wet and taken the ink from the print and made it kind of like people. And so it seemed that it was like people that were in there sad. So that inspired me to make this painting, The Arrival of Grief. And the other painting, the second painting that I have, is called Gratitude for the Foothills. This is actually a sunset, but with the pandemic, I began to exercise a lot. Every day, in the evening, in the middle of the night, I would go to the foothills. And this is I wrote, I am grateful for the foothills where I and others could walk during the pandemic. And the idea of more gratitude is this painting called Differential Gratitude, the Meeting. And this is an abstract, the idea that we haven't been able to meet during the pandemic, but once we can, we have the meeting. And this is after being in quarantine, we finally get to meet each other again, the gratitude of meeting once again since the pandemic.
to my garden. So sweet. Is it cool? Is it cool? Little Georgie. I'm an artist. I do a variation of very many things. I'm very eclectic. I've done healing dolls, which this is Inanna. She's a warrior goddess. She is a doll that we made and was shown at the African Performing Arts Center for domestically abused women and sexually abused women. So she was the warrior who stood up to it and wouldn't take no for an answer. So she's my strong goddess, which a lot of them are goddesses. This one here is also a goddess, but she's honoring my grandmother and the women before us, where I take crochet, what my grandmother would crochet and put on there, and incorporate many different things like the conch shell and the shells, because I love the water. And she's without a head because a lot of times women are without voice and they aren't being heard. And this is how we are seen, is through our body instead of our voices. I belong to a group of women, 9 women, which are called the Apronistas. We've been together for 10 years. We had aprons hung from the Hispanic Cultural Center, which was our big heyday. It's been quite some years, and we hung them on the cottonwood trees out in front of the Hispanic Cultural Center. I take these aprons, and then we make different aprons. I have this one apron where I'm honoring women of different cultures, where you have the Mexican women, the Hindu women, you have the African textile that they do, the Indian weaving. Then I took an image that I drew, and it's a printmaking process. I belonged to Newgrounds in the 90s, and I did this image of a Mexican woman that had lost her son to violence, and an African woman taking her child down by the river for a sacred ceremony. And then there's the dove that flies off in peace and love. And I've done things at Tortuga where we've taken women, Nobel Peace Prize women, of what woman we found of interest. And I did Liba Giveaway from Africa, and I did her. So there's a lot of images of women and their power and how they've come around. But now that I've been in isolation, I started doing, because I haven't done paintings in a while. So I did this painting that I'm in the process of me looking gorgeous, and my granddaughter and my dog. And this one over here is one that I'm working on, and hopefully I'll have that finished to be at Tortuga this July. And this one is called Release, where she's doing a dance and the bird is this. I do a lot of healing spiritual things for myself. And this is a shield where the woman's symbol is the triangle up and the triangle down symbolizes the man. And then the conch shells. Art is my healing grace. Without it, I probably wouldn't have lived as long as I have now. It's a very spiritual, intuitive process that I go through to create these. And after I create them, I do a lot of research to find out what the meaning was of these symbols and these images. And that is also very healing to me, to research and find these things. It also gives me strength. I got this violin at this yard sale for $5. And I found out that it was 100 years old, and to restore would have cost me $400. So I decided to make it into a piece of artwork, which will be showing at Placitas Library the month of September. So I'm putting this together now, and it will be done by September, but I just love it. And I take it, like I've said, I take the symbolic message from the dragonfly, which means transformation, and then I have all these other things, which I will, in the end, get together and find out what this meaning means behind all these symbolic images that I'm applying to my piece. It's got pearls, it's got a lot of bling, and then my bird's gonna go on top here like that. And so it's a work in progress. And I love the violin, just the feel of it and the way you can put your hand in it and look at it and see how that musician took this instrument and played it for, it's 100 years old. It's just got so much, I don't know, it's just so nice. I love it. And I love turning it into bling bling. Hi, welcome to Tortuga. Would you like to come in and I'll show you my painting? So this is my piece. It's called Transition to Transcending. And the show is grief and gratitude. So when I start this painting, I'm thinking of all these different things of what I'm grieving over during the pandemic and the gratitude that I have. And it transcends me to developing these images, which in turn becomes layers and layers. Once I see that image, I take those symbols, and it's very healing and transforming to me over my grief and my gratitude.
I know how that's been, honey. We haven't heard. Oh my gosh, my apronista.
My name's Janine Alvayatti. I'm here at Off Center Community Arts Project, and I've been asked to talk a little bit about my dear friend Nova Denise. She is a wonderful artist, wonderful person. I've known Nova for over 10 years in several different creative capacities, and most recently, and probably one of the most public and community engaging ways I've been involved with Nova has been here at Off Center with our giant puppets and our participation in the Albuquerque Downtown Art Walk. This is something that happens the first Friday typically of every month, and that's where we get to celebrate being Borqueños and living here in Albuquerque and being creative together. And the giant puppets and our puppet walkabout is one of the ways we do that.
Oven roasted cauliflower with sumac. This is part of the process. And this will be hatch red chili and cinnamon, pineapple spears roasted, a little bit of coconut oil. They're going to be topped with chopped pistachio, makes an amazing dessert. People will fawn all over you, and it doesn't take but an hour at 400. So here we go. All carefully measured. If you hold it a little further, you get a more even broadcast and things don't get saltier than other things. This is sumac, Penzies. It's got kind of a lemony flavor, light lemony flavor. I'll use about a tablespoon in the whole thing. I'm going to toss it in there, cook it, give it a little shake later on. This is already prepared. I sprayed the parchment with coconut oil, put the slivers of fresh pineapple, dusted it with hatch red chili and cinnamon, And I'm going to put a couple little drizzles of real maple syrup over the top of it. It'll get really nicely caramelized. That I will end up moving, flipping over halfway through as well. So I'm going to use just 2 little capfuls. All right. When the oven reaches temperature, which is 400, I'm going to put it in for an hour. I make art. It's been a saving grace over this last year and a half working retail. So thank God for art. I've done art cars, I've done jewelry. I'm currently in a phase of painting a bunch of tequila bottles. I make fortune fringe, I make food. Pretty much my life is about art and the love of beauty and music and how it is edifying to my spirit and others. What is the most proud thing that I've done in art? And I'd have to say it's my art cars. My first art car was called the Litter Bug, and it was entirely covered with litter from the beach and the park and the ocean, places where people threw things out. I was born in the 60s, and every political wife, the presidential wife, always has something that she'll fall on her sword for. Lady Bird Johnson came out with "Don't be a litter bug." So that is part of how it came about, and my love of nature and studying First Nations kind of respect for Earth Mother. So after driving that and having that as my everyday driver, which was about 10 years of riding a parade float every day basically, I took everything off and I covered it with the most insidious bit of litter that I find most annoying, something that adds up one by one that nobody ever thinks that it matters. So I turned that into the stink bug, and that's covered with cigarette filters that have been littered all over. And it shows how the butts stick around for a really, really long time. It is sealed with a clear sealant, a one-shot paint, but I wish my butt held up quite as well as these did. Here at Blank Art Cars, he's got a few films. The most recent one is called Automorphosis, and there's a lot of amazing art car people, and once you find out about art cars, then you realize that it's a whole community. I'll show you a few sketches of things that turned out to be other things, and then you can look at them or parts of them that still exist. This is a bustier that was made for Cardango, which is an event that happened at Art Arcade up in Trinidad. And this is a bustier, and these are cigarette filters with beads and other frou-frou. The Cardango is kind of like a dress ball for art car events, and we do firecracker hats, and there's usually entertainment and music, and people go all out. This is another bit of recycling. These are things that were from Sprouts. This is green packing material. This is from a school bulletin board. They're icicles. I wanted to do a Christmas theme. This is a little Christmas tree headpiece. So it's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to flip them over and put them back in. Cocktail forks, amazing. Super hot, obviously. It's a 400-degree oven, so don't be stupid. Some will get browner than others because I cut them fast and they're not all equally of the same size. That's okay. Yay, yay, yay! Okay. Sometimes I use the parchment to kind of move it along. Getting a little flipperoonie, starting to get brown in places. So this is about a third of the way done. I get a lot of those kind of brown caramelized. And this is great pureed for soups, mixed in with curries, cold on salads, nice as a snack, great as a side, very versatile. People love cauliflower. So here are some of my favorite haiku bottles. This one's a beautiful fancy tail goldfish. And the haiku is 10 cents wins a fish, $10 buys a bowl and food, dead the next morning. This one is the second cicada that I've done, and we've had a ton of cicadas. The 17-year-old ones have come out from the ground. My favorite of all time haiku is nothing in the song of the cicada indicates how soon it will die. I think that's beautiful. I think it means keep singing all the time until your very last, and don't let on and don't be drug around by the things that drag people down. This one is for our winged friends, and the haiku for this is the bees humming, blossom to blossom fills the meadow. One of my first bottles started out being the Virgin Mary, and it became something entirely different. It became more indigenous, and I really liked the way it came out. And that's when I realized that the Virgin is still on the inside, and I like that it's the Virgin on the inside and the First Nations wise woman on the outside. I think it's kind of a cool secret. So inspiration comes in a lot of different ways. I went past someone who obviously loves octopus and has painted one on their garage door. I came to find out that it's a local pet shop owner, and I painted this one from the picture that I took of their beautiful garage and their dedication to these odd creatures. So that was kind of fun. And this is part of a group of 3 ugly brothers that I did, and this is the last remaining one. And I will be doing some more sugar skulls. That's part of the next group of bottles. I usually do 3 at a time of a theme, and do a variation of a theme. So this is one of the remaining ugly 3 brothers, and I'm going to do another tequila bottle that is also going to be sugar skulls. We're back to flipping. Starting to get a little crispy around the edges. I washed my hands. Ay, ay, ay. This is so good on ice cream too, or after a hot and spicy meal. And when I put it back in, I'm going to rotate it around because ovens usually don't heat at the same place. And I'll probably flip up and down as well. Cauliflower smelling amazing. Starting to get those dark bits on the bottom. Oh yeah. As you can see, my half sheets are really well loved. Yay! It's all on the wrist. I like to have a little bit on the surface, so try not to overcrowd the pan. Give it another little dusting of sumac. Super good, kind of smoky, little lemony, That's a really nice flavor to it. This is also great with tahini dressing too, if you want to lean kind of Middle Eastern. And again, I'm switching top to bottom and rotating. It's got another 15 minutes and we'll check on it. Might extend the time depending on how crispy we like it. There you go. So on the back of the Black Ballerina bottle, which I am dedicating to Misty Copeland, I'm going to put a Misty Copeland quote, an inspirational quote. "You can start late, look different, be uncertain, and still succeed." Since I love film and I love food, I like to sneak in fancy snacks to the movie theater, and thus began these small bottles. They did have wine in teeny tiny bottles, and I thought, wouldn't that be great to pack for picnics of all sorts, including movie fancy snacks. So I started out with these little tiny bottles that they had discontinued, and they're actual glass bottles. So I had enough to do 5 of them, and then realized that they had discontinued them because now they're making out of plastic. So these began to be the prototype for some larger bedside bottles and other recycled bottles art. So for instance, this one, which is New Mexican kind of theme, became this big one with the sunflowers and the cactus and you know, kind of that theme. This moving water theme in different colors, the desert, the sky, the rocks, became mostly water. I guess it was because I was feeling really dry. So again, I do series of 3s, so there's 3 of these of small variations. Here's another one. This one became a little different. This one was much more free and became ultimately the biggest design that I've ever done. So this is a variation in blue. This is a variation in magenta. Here is a variation in purple. And the lines were really, really crazy making, and I use super cheap paint. So each bottle has got like 6 coats of whatever particular color it is, and then is sealed with a Mod Podge, you know, supposed to be indestructible kind of thing. Here are some other variations on one of the smaller bottles, and those have been really, really fun. Here we are in my next favorite place, or maybe sometimes even my most favorite place. And this is going to be the topping for the pineapple. And you can use regular pistachios. I happen to have these wonderful chili roasted pistachios, shelled already, so convenient. So I'm just going to chop up some of these guys with my fancy Alaskan, I think they're called Uluru. You can substitute it with any other kind of nut that you like, peanuts or nothing. You don't have to have nuts on it. Kind of liking that. Kind of powdery, kind of chunky. Nice mix. Okay, you can make it finer if you like, or whatever. You get to create your own thing. I'm going to flip them over one more time. Drizzle them with a little bit of honey. Put them back in. Oh no, that one might have to be eaten sooner. So I usually do at least a whole pineapple at a time when I do this, but I use the rest of it for other things. This one might have to be eaten soon too. Poor thing. Okay, so just a little drizzle, and back in the oven. Yeah, looking toasty. Okay, great. Sticky drizzle of maple. And some lovely pistachios. Oh my God. So good. Amazing with ice cream. Saved by the bell. So here we are. Cauliflower. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. It's not spicy. It's just got an interesting flavor to it that's, like I said, kind of lemony, a little bit kind of like smoked paprika. Really delish. And I could put it in there to make it a little darker, but super, super hot. It really makes me happy. So delicious. And as I said, you can use it in a lot of different ways, on salad, in curries, as a side dish, rolled up into things, rolled up into veggie wraps, or in a strata with eggs and cheese as part of a like a veggie bake. Anyway, there it is. So here's the culmination of the single chicken breast. It's stuffed with, I had 2 shallots, I had a handful of basil that needed to be used from the garden. This is 1 medium-sized Yukon potato. Here's some of the cauliflower that we made earlier, some string beans with Korean spice, and chicken is wrapped with bacon. And who wouldn't love that? So thank you so much for coming over to my little patio garden. A few slices of the chicken and some Yukon potatoes. This is not behaving perfectly, but then life doesn't always do that, does it? So, jump ship. And voila. Let's go. And I don't have any yogurt or ice cream, but that would be perfect, like a vanilla yogurt with a blob of that and some pineapple on the top would be amazing. So here we are, delicious patio bite, and thank you. Tender as a woman's heart.